Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the English briefing for the a12 blockade on the 3rd of February 2024. Hope everyone's having a good evening. Just a reminder, you can ask questions in the chat by clicking the little chat bubble in the lower right corner of your screen. If you want to ask them in Dutch, that is fine. We have Dutch people looking at the chat so they can understand both. Okay, let's get going. I'm going to take you through what we're going to be talking about in this briefing. First of all, we're going to, do a short little thing about what we're actually doing on Saturday. We're going to go through the action consensus. We're going to have a safety and well-being section done by Rainbear. We're going to go through the action plan together, have a legal section done by Husky, and some some small little things to go through at the end. So what we're actually going to be doing is we're coming to the a12 from different corners of The Hague, and we're going to be blocking it as long as possible. It's that simple. So it's the same plan as before, but we have the marches beforehand. The demand has stayed the same to abolish all fossil subsidies immediately. And if you want some more info, you can check the a12blockade.nl. It is a Dutch website, but maybe you can still find some info there. All right, the action consensus. First of all, we show respect to everyone, the rebels, the public, the government, and the police. We act and express ourselves non-violently and don't carry any weapons. We take responsibility for ourselves and the legal consequences of our presence and actions. We use no alcohol or other drugs and only smoke cigarettes where it doesn't bother others. We're not here to promote any political party. We make no open fires, and we're all an equal part of the whole and make decisions for ourselves. If you cannot adhere to this action consensus, then I'm going to ask you to please stay home. It's no problem, but then Extinction Rebellion is not the group for you to do actions with. So we stay peaceful, we stay respectful, and we make sure that we stay safe. We have one common goal on Saturday to demand a stop to fossil subsidies, but everyone has their own angle on it. And I am going to ask everyone strongly to respect that. There is some tension around that, but we are in contact with the relevant groups, and I can assure you that everyone is going to have this same common goal with from their own viewpoint. Then we're going to go to safety and well-being. First of all, in safety, is that the most dangerous decisions are made when we try to force victory from defeat. We have to accept that we might not succeed in our action. So if we cannot get onto the road, don't try to force yourself through it. Don't try to run through a blockade. That's when accidents are going to happen. So we'll just come back next time and learn from it. During the action, always remember that you're not a bad activist or a person if you decide it's too much for you and to just leave. That is okay. Trust your feeling in this. No one can tell you what your boundaries are. Something about safety before the action. Please wear no visible XR logos, banners, flags, etc. That makes it very easy for the police to pick you off. We don't want that, of course. We want you to get to the action location safely. If anyone does ask you why you're there and what you're doing, then you're just out for a day trip to The Hague. You don't have to tell them anything else. We're going to be in large groups, and we need to communicate with each other at some points for decisions or whatever. We, of course, have the silent giraffe. That is this symbol. If you see this symbol being held up, please hold up the same symbol and be silent. That way we can get the entire a12 or the entire group to be silent within seconds. Sometimes you might see a signal to sit down that looks like this. That will be done either by a finger coordinator or by action coordination. If you see that, please sit down. Maybe it's to de-escalate. Maybe it's because there needs to be a line of sight between one side of the action and the other. So yeah. And a mic check, that's a very important one. Someone might call mic check, and then people repeat that. And then a message is going to be conveyed in small bite-sized bits. If you hear that, please repeat the bit that has just been said. That way we can convey messages along a pretty big distance and among a large group. On decisions, one person has final responsibility. However, we are a decentralized organized group, so they will seek consent with as large group as possible, but that completely depends on the time frame of the decision. If we only have a minute, we're not going to be doing conveying with the AG reps, the finger coordinators to come to consent. But if we have longer, then we will get as many people involved as possible. Any announcements about decisions or anything will be made either via AG reps, your finger chat, or the aforementioned mic checks. With that, it's very important to not start mic checks for just anything. It really is a tool for action coordination and support roles to get a important message that is important for the entire action across. During the marches to the a12, try to stick together. If you can't, that is fine. Maybe you have a disability, maybe your feet just really hurt that day. That's okay. Tell Wellbeing, they will contact a finger coordinator, and they'll make sure it gets to the march leader. During the marches specifically, never sit down. We want to keep standing, because then we're quick on our feet. We can move around. We can turn around or take a detour whenever we need to. But don't sit down during the marches. And keep a walking pace. Don't go any faster. We're not going to be running. We're just going to have a relatively low walking pace. During the marches, there's a couple of hand signals that are important to know. We've had the silent giraffe. There is the signal for either start moving or move faster. That is a stretched out hand moving forward like this. We have the same signal for going to the right. We have the same signal for going to the left. We have the spread out. That is two hands spread out like this. That just means take up more space as the march. Maybe we just want to fill a space for whatever reason. Maybe we want to try and slowly walk through a loose police line. We have the opposite as well, which is a closed fist, usually accompanied by the word stick together. Just move closer to each other for whatever reason. If you see any of these hand signals being used, please copy it, because a group of however many hundreds of people is not going to see one person doing that. So if you see someone in the front of the march doing that, please copy it to make sure that everyone sees. March leader takes final decisions, so they're they're the decision maker for the marches. And again, when possible, that will happen with consent from the finger coordinators and AG reps, the affinity group reps. Now, if you're called to form a block, probably through a mic check, hook your arms into the person next to you and walk up really close to the person in front of you to form a very solid block that makes us safer from police, from any violent bystanders, anything. Once we get to the a12, please keep the center strip open for well-being, first aid, journalists, etc. Here, just don't try to break through a blockade, because we've already made it to the road. If we are blocked from going into the actual tunnel, we'll just block the bit before it. We can't predict what police will use to get us to leave. We don't know if they'll use water cannons or anything like that. If you want, you can use your body to stop what's coming. You can go sit down in front of it. Don't stand in front of it. De-escalate and sit down. But you can, of course, move away if you don't feel comfortable. That's entirely up to you. Then I'm going to give it over to Rainbear for de-escalation and well-being.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to start with repeating what was already said here. That is that you are not a bad human being. You're not a bad activist. If you decide that at some point a situation is not for you anymore, you don't feel comfortable anymore, and you moved somewhere else, be that to a different part of the blockade or just home. That can be very hard to do because you feel connected to the people around you, but it is the right decision if you feel it in your body to be the right decision. So for de-escalation, there might be some people who do not agree with us being there. It's very likely that they will be there, and they might be frustrated, irritated, up to angry and shouting at us. What I want you to understand about that is, like, it's the dirty little secret of civil disobedience, is we're there to be annoying. That's the point. We're there to disrupt, and we're doing that with a very good reason, and with a very thought through reason. But we're still there to be annoying, and we shouldn't be surprised if people are annoyed. So, getting reactions of irritation and frustration and anger is normal and to be expected. What our job is in that moment is to make sure that these people, these situations don't escalate. The core of that is to really internalize the fact that they can be angry. They are allowed to be angry. Emotions happen, and it's difficult to stop them. If you choose to engage these people, be friendly, be interested in them, and talk about their feelings. Try to make the entire conversation about feelings, yours and theirs, but focus on them and acknowledge the way they're feeling. If you get the chance to talk about yourself, don't go into discussions about 1.5 degrees, Paris Accords, 2025, Shell. Don't do that. Talk about why you're there, and actually why you're there. You're there because you're scared, because you're angry, because you're frustrated. You're there because of feelings, not because of numbers. You don't have to have these conversations, by the way. If you're not feeling up to it or feel angry, then just step away. It can be tempting sometimes if that feeling comes up in us, like there's a moment where it's almost like you want to get in their face and you want to tell them what's what, and try to make sure that you do not find that moment in yourself and step back before that happens, and maybe help other people to step back before that happens as well. De-escalation is not about winning, about being right, about convincing the other person. You will not be able to convince someone who steps up to an action like that. It's about making sure that everything is peaceful and non-violent. And most of the time, what that looks like is a conversation that ends with this angry person leaving, and that's fine. They might still be angry, they might be frustrated, but they're doing it somewhere else, and that's the main goal. Will you get maybe a constructive conversation out of this? Sometimes, maybe, but don't count on it. And again, if it gets too scary, you can always stop. It is better to say, I'm sorry, I no longer have room for this conversation, and leave, than to try and stay in a conversation where you're moving up to the point of anger. There is a team of trained de-escalators who you can recognize by the light blue vests. They can handle the situation, and even if there's no one around, it's better for you to leave than to stay in the conversation when you're feeling like that. So remember that. Now, the next two slides are what I call the fire exits. Does someone show you the fire exits because they think the building will be catching fire soon? No, but it's good to know. That said, it might happen that there is a larger group, say 10, 15 people, who decide to be hostile towards us and to enter the blockade with some kind of nefarious purpose that is maybe physically violent. We know that in this case, the police intervenes, and they do it quickly. To be able to make sure that there is as little damage as possible in that moment, you can, if you feel comfortable, sit down in a line between these people and the blockade to slow them down. So in that case, the police can get in between and take them away. This is to protect other people and not to provoke the people who are coming at us or scare them away. We stay non-violent, and if you can't, if you feel that moment coming up on you and it can surprise you, step away, pull back, and again, help other people to do that as well. It's always okay to leave. In a situation like that, if you choose to leave, do so in a larger group because there's safety in numbers. Then, second fire exit. If for any reason there is an emergency and the organization decides to disband the blockade immediately, you will hear scatter, scatter. If you hear this, repeat it and walk away in different directions. You can then meet back up at the emergency locations. If this happens during the march, that is the Malieveld, and if it happens during the blockade, you will get a location from your finger coordinator to go through. If this happens, so that's all I have to say about safety. I notice every time I talk about this, I feel tension rise in me. For me, it's like it's located in my chest, or and my shoulders go up, and I feel like I'm trying to get smaller. Don't look away from that feeling if you're feeling it right now, because you will be feeling it at the action as well, whether something happens or not. It's important that we're able to look this tension straight in the face, because at that point we can actually learn to deal with it, and that's important. How do we deal with it? First and foremost, we pay attention to it. We acknowledge that it's there and we talk about it. You talk to your buddy, you talk to your affinity group, you talk to someone from the well-being team, you talk to a complete stranger who happens to sit next to you, and you express what you're feeling. That police officer, that specific one, scares me. I don't like it. I have no idea what's going on right now, and maybe I'm thinking I want to leave. I don't know. Name it to tame it. You will notice that probably you're not the only person who's feeling this, and for sure the feeling will be more manageable because you're talking about it. It's no longer all in your body, it's in one place and in the group. Second of all, you can breathe, you can sigh, like to have a very deep exhale, like always helps. Like, every time I do it, I feel a little bit of tension from just talking to you fall off me. It's nice. What you can also do is take like some skin-on-skin contact. I like taking my hand and putting it on my collarbone. Some people automatically put their hands in their necks when they're feeling stressed, or on their bellies. You can also do it with someone else if they consent, of course. Can be nice. And just hugging, some contact always helps. And then lastly, what is adrenaline? Adrenaline is your body like gathering energy to react to what's scaring you, right? So use that energy. Don't bottle it up. Move, dance, and sing. Jump up and down. Shake your body. Lose it. It will help, but it will only help for a little while. Actions are always a lot. That is true for people who do it for the first time, and true for people who've done it tens of times. Tens, maybe hundreds by now, I don't know, of times. It's a lot. There's noise, there's chaos, there's confusion. You don't know what's going on. There's police, which is never never a good time, even if they're nice to you. It's a lot to be there. Don't look away from that. Don't pretend like it's easy to be there if it's not, because it won't help you. I can assure you that. By now, we as a movement, and the global justice movement in general, is starting to learn how to deal with the fact that it's so much to be there. And that is what we talk about when we talk about well-being. You can do a few things to help yourself be well before, during, and after an action. First and foremost, before, find your boundaries. Discuss with your buddy, with your affinity group, with whomever, what you want to do at the action. Do you want to just go into the support demo? Do you want to go into the blockade? Do you want to get arrested? Talk about what might happen and make decisions about that beforehand. Important. I'll come back to that later. Then make sure you have a buddy. It's good to have an affinity group. Make sure you're in a finger, but by Jove, make sure you have a buddy. It's very nice to have just an anchor, a person that you can checks in with you. It feels way less lonely, and it is very nice to have. Ideally, this is a person you've known for 20 years, you've done civil disobedience with 100 times, ideally, but a complete stranger is better than nobody. Your buddy is also someone, ideally, and I really, really recommend it, that has the same boundaries as you, that decides that you try to both get arrested around the same time, or you leave at the same time. Don't don't break away from each other. Stay together. Then do a COVID test. COVID is still a thing, and we will be close together. So please make sure you do a COVID test beforehand and stay home if it's positive, obviously. And then beforehand, also pack your stuff. I find it nice in my brain to prepare like that, like to go through scenarios in my head already. It gives me rest. There will be a packing list in the chat, I presume. And pro tip: make sure you bring something to do. Everyone always thinks about the first half hour of an action and the last half hour of an action, but everyone forgets the 3 hours in between where you're bored. So bring a pack of cards, bring a book, bring maybe a musical instrument if you're not too scared of it getting damaged in some way. I bring my knitting, if you crochet, stuff like that. Golden tip. Then, right before the action is like the very, very base of the hierarchy of needs. Make sure you eat, because of the stress in your body during the action, it might take a while before you feel hungry, even though your body needs food. You will start to feel weak and tired and cold, especially in February, and not realize why. This is because stress shuts down your digestive system. So make sure you eat beforehand. Have a good breakfast. Second of all, drink water, not too much. You can pee at the action, but it's literally a bucket surrounded by a tiny tent. So don't expect don't expect golden toilets. It's not gonna. It's not a fun time. It'll do, but it's not a fun time. In that same vein, make sure you poop beforehand, because that is not possible at the action. I'm very sorry. And fourth, right before the action, ground yourself. You will probably wake up in the morning and feel the tension already, and take your things and go to The Hague and meet the people you need to meet, and go into the action without ever taking a moment to stop. It is vital in those very first 15 minutes of the action, where the most things can go wrong, that you are clear in your head. And what helps with that is grounding yourself. Take a moment of silence, feel the earth push back on your feet, step into your body for a bit. And then you can let the tension come up again and go in. It helps, I can assure you. And during the action, keep checking in with yourself and with your body and with each other. And then, so that come back to this, try not to cross the boundaries you set beforehand. It happens all the time. It's happened to me. I've seen it happen a lot of times, that people, because of the tension, because of the chaos, because they feel connected to everyone around them, they want to stay, and they decide they step into the blockade anyway, or to get arrested anyway, or to do whatever anyway. This is normal. This is because, like, this is kind of a fight response. You want to do something because you feel connected and you feel energized and maybe scared, and you want something to do. Try not to, and try to help each other do that. Don't ask someone who decided to get arrested anyway, not to get arrested, or get arrested anyway. I know, I deeply know that turning your back to the entire blockade and walking away hurts. It physically hurts to do to me. But after 30 seconds, when you take that last step and you're out, you will feel immense relief and gratitude to yourself and whoever helped you do that. You stayed true to your boundaries, and that's the most important. This specific action itself will not stop climate change, I'm very sorry to say. So make sure you can do a few of these. Then, what else? Yes, accept the fog of civil disobedience. We've come to call it this after the fog of war, they sometimes call it. There's a large group of people who is doing something quite chaotic, although there's structure to it, and we try to make sure everything happens smoothly. A lot of information moves very slowly through the group, and so especially in the beginning, there's a lot of confusion. What is happening? Why are we standing still? What is the police exactly doing? Wait, what did they just say? I didn't. What? That's fine. You will, after a while, start understanding better what the situation is and how everything will go. In the meantime, try to accept the fact that you don't know. And then after the action, if you still have space, you can help with RST support. That means that you stand outside of the police station and welcome the people who come out after they got arrested. And it's a very nice thing to do on either side of that interaction, because you can start talking about what happened, and you can start helping, and you can see the people again that you were in the blockade with. Second of all, make sure you rest. Take time. Don't plan anything, like no job interviews on the day after. Leave the dishes, sleep in, scream into a pillow, cry, go into nature, do whatever gives you energy. It takes a while to recover from this for a lot of people. And then thirdly, talk about it. Talk to your buddy, talk to your affinity group, come to a debrief, talk to someone ideally who was there, who understands. Even if people around us, our families, are supportive of what we do, it's difficult to communicate what it's really like to be inside of a blockade like that. So talk to someone who you don't have to explain that to, and go through your feelings and go through what happens. It helps give everything a space. If you notice that after a few weeks that you're still feeling whatever happened to you, there are therapists within XR who give free sessions. You can find the email address on the website, and you can contact them if it gets too much, if to be too much for you. They can help. They really do. So I think that's it. One final time. But I am completely confident that you will all do great. And I wish you a lot of luck. See you.
Thank you, Rainbear, for your beautiful words. Now, after that more emotional bit, we're going to go to the very practical side of it, which is we're going to go through the action plan. We're going to start with the march, with the marches to the a12. First of all, what is the goal? Like, why are we even marching? It's because fossil subsidies impact everyone of every background and every standing. So that's why we involve the whole of The Hague with our action, because everyone needs to get involved, because it does reach everyone. Before the march, you're going to meet at your finger location. The time and location itself will be shared by your finger coordinators, probably somewhere tomorrow night. So watch out for that, so you can plan your public transport or whatever before you go to bed. During the march, the routes will be kept secret to prevent police from interfering. If we make that public, then they can just wait for us in the middle of our or at the beginning of our route and be set up to stop us, which would be a shame. And it really is as simple as just we're going to be marching to the a12. We will not, however, be slow marching. We will, of course, have a speed that is aimed at everyone being able to keep up with it, but we will not be moving at a traditional slow marching pace, like half a kilometer an hour. We do not have time for that, unfortunately, with still starting from the socially relevant locations that we will be starting from. That said, also we will keep walking no matter what, because we are unstoppable. So there's no sitting or using infra, lock-ons or glue in the march. Please save all of that for on the a12. It's much more useful there. You're much more protected there by other rebels. So just keep it until then. When we get to the a12, which is, this is circled in pink, is the actual tunnel. That's between the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate and the House of Representatives. We will be coming from basically two groups, because there is the couple groups that are gonna, there's the different marches, of course, and then there's the couple groups that are gonna gather on the Malieveld. It's the group of people that didn't want to or couldn't join a march, and it's the group of people that were too late signing up to join a march. Just as an overview, here's a different view of that same area. So, at least now you know what we're going to be, where we're going to be blocking, and like what it looks like. Remember, be strengthened in the fact that we are doing something very important. We are making a change, which is very necessary because extinction is forever. Everything is at stake. But oh, there's some missing there. But our fate is definitely in our hands. And we can make that change. We have made an impact already, and we will make more of an impact. Then next, I'm going to be handing it off to Husky for the legal business.
Yes, I think you can hear me all. If not, somebody from the tech will let me know. Yeah, legal. I assume that most of you did the NVA training. I mean, everyone should have. So a lot of information should be double, but that's okay. If there are still questions after my explanation, that can be done in the chat, I think. And if there are still questions after that later, my number is in my name description. You can always send me a signal. And that's a general remark so that you can do that all year round. So let's start at the first slide. What we are going to do, we are going to start with a march and then a blockade. The most probably you will be, if they arrest you and you will be charged. So that will also be the question. But if you will be charged, you will probably be charged by a C offense breaching WOM 11, and probably for holding up traffic. We already had a letter from the mayor that he's not pleased. So worst case, you get a fine of a few €100. That happens after the OM indeed sends you a letter that you have to pay that. And if we did object and OM does not be okay with the objection and then takes it to court, and then if the judge says we are in the wrong, then you have to pay that. But that's a lot of steps, and mostly the steps are never taken. So in best case, it will be immediately dismissed. That has been the case in a lot of latest events of the a12. However, don't count on it. There is an option and a possibility that you will be actually taken to jail. I remember that I heard of quite a few people that were upset when they were taken to the police station, but that is the baseline. If they don't take us to the police station or drop us off at the soccer station at ADO, that is the exception legally. So yeah, you can be held for 6 hours. If you are anonymous, 12 hours. Be aware that the hours will start to count after you have seen the hulpofficier, so the help prosecutor. So they can play a little bit with that. But mostly they want to get rid of you as fast as possible. So the 6 hours is for investigation time. So if they have your ID and they know who you are, and then they will let you go. In this case, the things that we are going to do, they are definitely within the rights to demonstrate. So there's very limited chance that it is hazard for your VOG. There are some specifics, so if you are scared, please reach out. Just don't be damaging anything, then you will be fine. Yes. Before the action, yeah, fill in the RST form. Also, please read the RST form. For some people, this is, we just fill it in and then be done with it. But there's some crucial information on the RST form, specifically the way we check in and the way we check out. In this case, filling in the RST form counts as you're checking in our system or in RST support system. So they assume you are part of the action. So if you are no longer part of the action, then you can check out in a new way. There will be QR codes present, and there will also be a link shared. So when you go, there's 3 reasons that you can check out. The first one is that you just don't come. That can be any reason. Please check out. Another reason is that you go home before arrest. Can also be any reason. That also doesn't matter, of course. Please check out. And the third reason is that when you are actually arrested and you are freed, and then you also check out. If you don't check out, you make it for the people very complicated because they assume you are still somewhere. Be mentally prepared. Yeah, like I said, it has become a little bit of a routine that they take us en masse and bring us to ADO Stadion. But there can be an exception, and we don't know what they are going to do now. So be mentally prepared to be in jail for a little while. And that can be quite annoying, especially if you don't expect it. And it can also be very boring. So write on your body your RST number and also the name of the lawyer. That's Ineke van den Brule. And also the RST support numbers. There's 2, so you can take a pick. Think about it clearly. If you are ready for arrest, please consider that before you join the action, when you're still calm and in your own space. However, at the moment that you are in the action and you want to change that, feel free to do that. But at least think about it beforehand, because sometimes in stressful situations, you make the wrong decisions. Yes. During the action, always stay non-violent. That's very important. That's for moral reasons. That's very important. That's for tactical reasons, very important. And also for legal reasons. The moment you stop being non-violent, then you are no longer protected on the demonstration right. And then basically everything that we are doing is punishable by law. Don't talk to the police. They are people, they are humans, so treat them with the respect they deserve. But they have a job to do, and their job is to get information from you. So even if they are really nice, and even if you believe that it is really genuine, they have a job to do, and better not talk to them. Also, as a solidarity to people who have been hurt in the past by the police, that doesn't look right. Don't call people by their names. For example, my name is Husky. My real name is Bieno. Everyone knows that already, so that's fine. But if you don't know, please, if you see somebody that you haven't seen for a long time and you run up to that person and you say, then please ask first, under what name are you here? People can be anonymous. Look out for each other. That should be that's why we have the body system, and that's why we have the affinity groups. Especially look out for people from marginalized groups, and you will see it happen. So it should not surprise you that sometimes there will be police violence. Please record it. Even if your phone is empty, please point it to the police. They don't know it's empty, and they will probably be less violent if you do so. If you have any videos, share it with a police violence email address that will follow later, and you will get that in the group. You can always ask that later, but it should be shared. Police has to requisition 3 times. In Dutch that's called vorderen. Hier spreekt de politie. U bent gevorderd weg te gaan. Anyways, if you cannot understand it and if you cannot hear it, if there will be a police car or a police person with a big megaphone shouting things at you, that is the vordering. That is the requisition. If you don't want to be arrested, that's the time for you to leave. Officially, they have to do that 3 times, but they can do that 2 times in 1 time. Then they just say, we do the requisition 2 times, and then it's been done 2 times. Don't wait for that. If you want to be low risk, it's not no risk because you're on the road, but you can be low risk. But if you don't want to be high risk, you leave as soon as you hear the police shouting that to you. All right. After the arrest, I have to check what the RST liaisons communicate with back office. Like I said, it's a little bit different. It is that there are people, the RST support, that are waiting outside of the station or outside ADO station or whatever. They can give your number because they also have the link, but you can also do that yourselves. There's no specific RST liaisons presence, probably. Maybe there's someone who says he is, but that's some nice person who wants to do it for you, so you can take that offer. But it's your responsibility first. Transport and check in. If you're arrested, police will take you somewhere, and you should be checked in. They should take your ID. They don't have to. When the hulpofficier steps into a bus and says, "I'm the hulpofficier," and they give you the charge, and he says, "I release you," that is legally right. It feels wrong, but it's legally right, and then you can go. But it's possible that they check your ID. With a C offense, they can take you for 6 hours. With a B offense, they can take you for 9. And if you go anonymous, they add 6 hours. This time is not punishment time. Can feel like punishment, but it's investigation time. In that investigation time, they want to figure out who you are. So if you're anonymous, they take more time. Then something about the C and the B offense. Most probably, most of us will be charged with a C offense, violating the WOM. And that's also in the letter that we got from the mayor. However, some people can be charged by a B offense. And a B offense is really wide. It's a bit of a lawyer talk. So basically everything that's more heavy than driving without a light, and on the other end, hitting somebody to death. That's B offense. So it's quite broad. In our case, a B offense would be when you sit on the road and it's not when it's not WOM, it's Wetboek van Strafrecht. So probably Article 162, if I'm right. It's also sitting on a road, a land road or a water road. It's a B offense. It's a higher punishment. It's a higher fine. However, that specific thing is also protected by demonstration law. So the charge will be higher, but the possibility that you're actually found guilty is the same. If you break something, that's also B offense, but we should not do that. That's not non-violent. So unlikely, it's very unlikely that you actually go to a detention or immigration detention. That means that they keep you for longer. If you go anonymous, at least they will threaten you with it. Sometimes they will threaten you with 3 to 6 months in jail, but that is bullshit. However, they can take you for 3 days. But before that happens, you will consult your lawyer. And the lawyer will say what you have to do or what you have to say. So don't worry about it right now. We always say when you are in the police station, you have to say no comment, except when the lawyer advises otherwise. Then always listen to the lawyer. You have the right to food, water, medication, a doctor, and toilet visit. That doesn't mean you always get it. Sometimes you have to insist, especially when you're anonymous. And especially when with medication, they will try something like, okay, if we don't know who you are, we cannot give you the medication. Probably we give you the wrong medication. Last time that happened to me, I said, look, you don't know if I need it, but you don't know what happens when you don't give it. So please give it. I probably die if you don't give it. So you bring your medication so that it's easier for them to find it, but don't bring it in the package with your name on it if you go anonymous. Interrogation, yeah. You have a right on a translator. If you are anonymous and you are Dutch, but you pretend you are not, you still have a right to a translator. Can be really annoying. Can be reasons to do it, to make the system go slower. Can be reasons to not do it because they would not like it and treat you more badly. Yeah, always use your right to a lawyer, but only our own lawyer. If you want a lawyer, ask for Ineke van den Brule. If they say, yeah, we cannot reach her, that would be bullshit. Just insist that you want her. Because if they say she's not available and you believe it and you take any other lawyer, you will probably get a lawyer that's really bad. Yeah, when you should you use that right with a B offense? You know when it's a B offense when the police say you have a right to an attorney. If they say you don't have a right to an attorney, you can still call the attorney because we as XR provide you that right. And the law also provides you that right, only you have to pay for it. But XR pays for it. So the money should not be an issue. But then you know, if they say you have a right to a lawyer, yeah, well, you can call one. If you're a minor, you always call the lawyer. And if you feel unsafe. And I would say especially then, you can always say no comment. So if you need legal advice and really nothing happens, you can say, okay, no comment and leave. But if you feel unsafe, there is no one else you can call. But you have always the right to call the lawyer, so please feel free. Don't hesitate. We have the money to pay for that lawyer. So don't think I will not call the lawyer because, yeah, that will cost the movement money. Yes, that is true, but that's why we have it for the safety of you. So use the right to remain silent. So say no comment, and especially don't sign anything. If you are interrogated, they will put it on paper and they will ask you to sign it. And it doesn't matter what you said. Of course, you said no comment, but you can have said something else. Don't sign anything. If they say, look, then you are more suspicious, that is also bullshit. Legally, that is not true. And if you get your stuff back, they will also ask you to sign something, and you just say, look, it's my stuff. Please give it back. Yes. And after release, after you are released, you can send any documents you get later to Legal at Extinction Rebellion. I don't know if that is right. I should check that. You get I don't know if the Legal at Extinction Rebellion.nl is right, but maybe they've changed it. So I apologize. I should know. In my mind, there's another email address, but the right one you will get from your finger leader or in the general group. Video evidence you send to XRNL politiegeweld, protomail.com. That one is correct. Use the RST support. If you don't know how to sign yourself out, they will help you. Also talk about your experience. Like I said before, there is XR therapists. If you feel the need to use one, please do. And if you are in doubt, also please do. I have contacted them in 2 instances. That was very helpful. And sometimes one conversation about it will be fine. And if that's not fine at that moment, they will send you further. They are good. They are professional therapists. They just give their time and skill to the movement, so it is for free. I think that is the end of my part. Yep. Give it back to, I think, Balu.
Yes, thank you, Husky, for your explanation. We're just going to go lastly through some general points, some things you need to sort out before Saturday morning. First of all, you're going to have to decide if you're going anonymous or not. Husky explained what the consequences of that are. Now, you might wonder what the advantages of it are. Well, first of all, if you're anonymous and they don't find out who you are, that's it in terms of any fines or anything. There's never going to be any court case because they don't know who you are. Second of all, some people have to go anonymous because they don't, because they're what's it called, status holders. They don't have, they're not legally in the country. Or maybe they get into trouble with their work if they find out they're getting arrested. And you can choose to go anonymous to be and to stand in solidarity with them, because the more people are going anonymous, the less likely police is to try to find out who every individual is. Now I'm seeing this title is not translated. Some stuff you need to do before Saturday, just to check if you've already done an action training, if you're already in the broadcast channel, and if you're in a finger. Then before the action, follow the general briefing. Hi, welcome. Follow your finger briefing. Might have already been, otherwise, your finger will decide on when that is. Read the legal handout, read the action consensus, check up on it, and then determine if you're going high risk or low risk. So do you want to be arrested or not? Are you going anonymous? Then draw an RSD number and fill in your RSD form. Just before the action, write on your body your RSD number that you've drawn from the form. Write the RSD support telephone numbers down, and write down the name of the lawyer. And of course, pack your stuff according to the packing list, which will be shared in the broadcast channel. Finally, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in your finger. Your finger coordinators are probably experienced rebels, and if they don't know the answer, then they are in contact with the action coordination, who can answer it for them. Second of all, enjoy. It can feel great to do an action, to like take your power into your own hands. And remember that Extinction Rebellion always wins. It might take a little while, but we are on the right side of history. We are doing the right thing. So by definition, we will win. Because people have the power. And I hope to see all of you on the a12. Thank you for your attention, and good night.